A company called Tian Industries is trying to conduct the deepest drill in the Mariana Trench. Deploying the Kepler 822, they send a team to research an unexplored drilling zone in the said trench. Different news articles are shown, with one of them reading that there are strange sightings at the drill site. However, the company dismisses these rumors. At Kepler 822 station, Norah, the station's mechanical engineer, shares her experience of working underwater for a long time. According to her, working underwater straight for months, you will lose your sense of day and night. But for her, it doesn't really matter. While preparing for work, Norah hears a rumbling noise. When she goes out of the locker room to check it, she notices water dripping from above. Then, all of a sudden, ocean waters break into the facility. She quickly runs to warn the others about the pressure breach. While on the run, she comes across her crewmate named Rodrigo. The two go to the bulkhead, but they cannot close it because the seal is jammed. Norah successfully fixes the seal and is about to close it. Just then, she sees some of her crewmates running backward toward the bulkhead, screaming at them to wait. Unfortunately, they won't make it in time, so Norah has to seal the bulkhead to save the rest of the station. Suddenly, the control panel blows up, which makes the two pass out. When Norah and Rodrigo regain consciousness, they hear the warning saying that there is an impending structural failure. All of the crewmates inside the Kepler 822 are advised to go to pod bays for immediate evacuation. As it turns out, 70% of the station has been compromised and the reactor is currently unstable. The two try to contact the control center first, but fail. At this time, they start making their way to the pod bays. They see a working computer and Norah searches for the nearest pod bay. While doing so, Rodrigo assures Norah that sealing the bulkhead is the best decision at the moment. Shortly after, he asks Norah if it is an earthquake that caused the pressure breach, but Norah is not really sure. After finding the nearest evacuation pod, they quickly get on the move. However, the destruction caused by the incident makes it a little harder for them to pass through. At this time, they hear a man calling for help. Following the voice of the man, they find Paul, Norah's friend, pinned under some rocks. Fortunately, Paul's body is not caught in the rocks, so the two easily help him get up. Afterward, the three crawl through a very tight space where they see a dead body. When they reach the pod bay, they see the captain of Kepler Station, Lucien. Just then, Norah finds that all of the escape pods in the bay are gone. Seeing them, Lucien orders Rodrigo and Paul to check where the submersibles are, and he questions Norah about the rig situation, to which she answers it's pretty bad. Norah is surprised that the captain, who has a daughter at home, didn't escape first. Lucien says that it's his duty as a captain to assure everyone's safety before his own. He then treats Norah's wound. Norah is having a breakdown, thinking about all those people that didn't survive because she closed the bulkhead. Lucien consoles her and tells her not to dwell on what happened. Later on, Norah gets to the main control base. There, she finds the station's biologist, Emily, and another engineer named Liam. Lucien, Rodrigo, and Paul arrive shortly after. The survivors' situation is getting dire because Lucien is not quite sure if help will arrive. They assess the situation, and with the reactor being unstable, a meltdown might happen. This will cause an explosion and definitely kill them. Estimating the time that they have, Norah thinks they have about 30 minutes before the meltdown. With no escape pods and submersibles available, Lucien decides that they will go to Roebuck 641. Roebuck 641 is another station that is about a mile away from Kepler. Confused, the crew asks how they are going to get there, to which the captain says they will walk. Lucien plans to use the cargo elevator to go down the ocean floor. Then, they will go through the access tunnel to reach the midpoint station. After charging and cleaning their suit there, they will follow the markers to get to Roebuck. At this time, Liam tells them to listen to the last transmission from the drill site. While listening, they hear a weird noise that echoes through the site. To make matters worse, the temperature outside rises 10 degrees. The crew shows doubt about Lucien's plan, but they do not have any other choice. So they all gear up using the pressurized suit. Rodrigo is handing helmets to everyone, while Liam and Paul take some guns. They bring the guns as a precaution in case that weird noise they hear from the transmission came from any animals. On the other hand, Emily is very scared and nervous, but they assure her that everything will be fine. As the floor above them gets destroyed by pressure, the crew descends to the water. Unfortunately, the exterior hatch has been destroyed. As soon as the door opens, the pressure will hit them hard. Just then, Norah sees that Rodrigo's helmet is broken. She immediately orders Liam to keep the door closed, but it is too late. When it opens, the pressure completely breaks Rodrigo's helmet, causing him to implode. Emily screams in terror as she witnesses Rodrigo's horrible death. But with the limited oxygen they have, the team has to continue moving forward. Staring outside, Norah sees nothing but the pitch-black ocean. Upon reaching the cargo elevator, Norah realizes that Rodrigo must know his helmet was faulty, yet he still gave her the proper one. Meanwhile, Emily is still horrified because it is her first time seeing everyone die, and it is brutal. Then all of a sudden, the crew sees a distress signal coming from one of the escape pods. Thinking that there might be a survivor, Lucien says that someone needs to go and check. Paul and Liam volunteer for the job. Before going out, Paul hands Emily his favorite stuffed animal, called Paul Jr., because it is important to him. While the two men prepare to head out, Emily starts a conversation to ease up everyone's tension. She asks Lucien and Norah if either of them is married. Norah keeps quiet, while Lucien says he was married and he has a daughter. As Norah turns on all the available camera feeds in their suit and the area, they watch Paul and Liam go to the escape pod. When the two reach the pod, they see it is destroyed and covered with some sort of algae. But Paul argues that it is not algae. Searching further, they see the dead body of their crew member. Norah tells them to let it be and that they should just come back to the elevator. But Paul doesn't listen and proceeds to check on the body. Through his camera, the three in the elevator see that something is moving from the back of the dead body. Then all of a sudden, something bursts out of the dead body's back and attacks Paul. Luckily, Liam manages to shoot the creature. Then they bring it back to the elevator. The creature is about as long as an arm and looks like nothing that mankind has ever seen. Upon examining it, Emily discovers that it has small talons in its tentacles. She thinks that it is one of the undiscovered species of sea creatures living in the deepest part of the ocean. Unfortunately, she is interrupted when the elevator loses its power. Luckily, they are only 200 meters above the ocean floor, and Norah can just glide them down. However, they start hearing the same noise they heard from the transmission earlier. At this time, a heavy creature lands on top of the elevator. They silently listen to their surroundings, becoming conscious of what is happening outside. Paul comes to a realization and asks if the creature they brought in is just a baby. Just then, they hear a loud noise, followed up by some knocking. Lucien says they need to get down on the ocean floor immediately. But Norah points out that they are already disengaged from the station. She feels puzzled as to why they are not moving down yet. At this time, a loud banging scares all of them. When the Kepler station starts exploding, they see a silhouette of a humanoid creature above them. The elevator then suddenly drops down. The crew quickly goes to the pressure chamber. After putting on all their helmets, they open the hatch and get out before the elevator crashes to the ocean floor. Afterward, they run to the midpoint station while avoiding the debris falling because of the explosion. However, Liam is hit by debris. Norah and Lucien manage to save him and bring him to the access tunnel. Unfortunately for Liam, he inhaled some fumes and his oxygen scrubber was damaged. Norah checks on him and says he will be fine, but Paul points out that there are still creatures outside that can kill them. As if on cue, they start hearing loud noises from outside again, but Lucien dismisses him and says it is just the debris falling. He also orders Norah to activate the mover so they can ride it as they go through the access tunnel. A little later, the crew discovers that their way is flooded because of a damaged pump. Because of this, they have to go on foot. Worse, they hear the creature's noise once again. With no other options, they continue moving through the dark and flooded access tunnel. At this time, they discover that their way is blocked. Norah swims down and finds a way to the other side. the others immediately follow after her. Unfortunately, when it is Paul's turn, he gets stalked by the creature. The others hear him through their communication device having trouble. They immediately pull him out of the water, and Paul tells them that he saw the creature again. Then, all of a sudden, the creature pulls him back into the water. They try to drag him back, but the creature rips him out of his suit, causing blood to splatter all over his helmet. Scared, the crew immediately goes to the bulkhead. Upon reaching the midpoint station, Lucien tries to call for help on the surface, but he is getting no response. Meanwhile, Norah, Emily, and Liam talk about what is happening to them. Looking at the driller that weighs 6,000 tons in the distance, Liam wonders how it gets ripped apart. Emily thinks that everything that happened is their fault. According to her, the planet is getting back at them after they've taken too much of it. She points out that no human is supposed to be down in the deepest part of the ocean. Hearing this, everyone gets silenced. A little later, after seeing that the station will not last longer, Lucien says they cannot stay there anymore. However, because of the damaged oxygen scrubber, Liam's suit will not last long outside. He tells them to leave him, but they don't want to lose anyone else anymore. At this time, Norah, Lucien, and Emily help Liam walk outside. Lucien also advises Liam to just take a short, shallow breath until they reach Roebuck. When they reach marker 21, the creature finally shows itself. The crew stops for a while and becomes cautious of their surroundings. Thinking quickly, Lucien orders them to turn off their lights. Suddenly, the creature gets behind Norah. But when she turns around, the creature is gone, and so is Liam. They look around and see his foot in a cave. Hooking his suit up to Norah's, Lucien goes in to save Liam. After getting him back, Lucien returns for the gun. Suddenly, the creature attacks Lucien and thrashes him. But because their suits are hooked up, Norah gets dragged in as well. When the creature lets go of them, Norah lands on a platform while Lucien gets tangled up beneath her. When Norah is trying to help Lucien, the creature comes back for them. Norah comes face to face with the creature, which tries to swallow her. Luckily, her helmet doesn't fit into the creature's mouth. Wanting to help Norah, Lucien stabs the creature. Because of this, the creature drags them up again. To make their situation worse, the pressure level is rising because they are ascending too fast. If they don't do something, the pressure will kill them both. In order to save Norah, Lucien sacrifices his life. Saying that it is going to be alright, Lucien lets go of Norah and implodes as the pressure consumes him. Norah is devastated about Lucien's death, but she has no choice but to continue her way to Roebuck. Just in time before her suit runs out of oxygen, Norah manages to get into an abandoned old expeditionary unit. There she sends a message to Emily and Liam telling them where she is. Roaming around the station, she finds Lucien's old uniform. She sees a sympathy card and discovers that his daughter has already passed away. Afterward, Norah gets a map and traces her distance from Roebuck. She then changes into an old pressurized suit that she found in the station and brings a flare gun with her. On her way to Roebuck, she keeps on talking, hoping that she will reach Emily and Liam's communication lines. After some time, Norah starts to intercept Emily's communication line and hears her talking. She continues walking, following the markers until she finds Emily and Liam. As Norah approaches them, Emily panics, thinking that Norah is one of the creatures. She immediately consoles Emily and asks how Liam is. Fortunately, Liam is still alive, but he needs to be dragged around because he is wounded. While walking, they talk about their lives. As it turns out, Norah has a fiancé, but he went missing after diving alone. On the other hand, Emily is very in love with Liam. A little later, the three finally reach the Roebuck. However, Emily's oxygen starts to run out. Norah encourages her to go further a little more. But to their horror, they discover that the entrance of Roebuck becomes the nest and breeding ground for the creatures. When they notice that the creatures are sleeping, they try to sneak in by turning their lights off and quietly walking through them. Suddenly, Emily's suit rings its alarm, warning her that her oxygen level is getting critical. This awakens a large creature, which starts to attack Norah. Norah orders Emily to continue taking Liam to safety. After the creature thrashes Norah around, it begins swallowing her. Fortunately, she manages to shoot it using the flare gun and gets out of the hole she made in the creature. However, the other creatures start to wake up. But to Norah's surprise, the creatures do not attack her and seem to swim upwards like something big is pulling them. She loads the flare gun and fires in the direction where they go, and horror creeps into Norah as she realizes that the creature that attacked them earlier is way too small compared to the enormous creature in front of her. As the enormous creature begins its attack, Norah tries to run inside the station. However, the impact of the creature's attack causes an explosion and sends Norah flying. Fortunately, Emily comes back for her and drags her inside the station. As Norah's suit runs out of oxygen, Emily uses a fire extinguisher to break it open to make her breathe. After recovering for a while, the three start making their way through the station. But because they are unfamiliar with the place, they find it hard to get to the escape pods. Luckily, Norah finds a working computer and uses it to find the nearest pod bay. Just then, Emily and Liam see that enormous creature lurking outside the station. As they finally reach the pod bay, the creature begins attacking the station. Fortunately, although there are 3 pods in the bay, only 2 of them are working. When asked if they have enough pods for all of them, Norah lies to them and says all 3 pods are working. Hearing this, Liam tells the women to go first. But since he is injured, Norah and Emily insist that he goes first. As Emily prepares Liam for the takeoff, Liam thanks her for dragging him across the ocean floor. Afterward, Norah gives him Paul Jr. and orders him to give it to Paul's family. At this time, Emily tells Norah to take the next pod, yet Norah insists that she takes it. Just then, Emily realizes that something is wrong with the 3rd pod. She gets emotional because she doesn't want to leave Norah, but Norah promises her that she can fix it in time. Emily says she can help her, but she declines. Norah points out that Emily should not waste the opportunity to be with Liam. Then, she pushes Emily inside the pod. For the last time, Emily attempts to get out, but Norah punches her face. After apologizing to her, Norah promises that everything will be all right. When the 2 escape pods successfully launch, a school of the smaller creatures follow them. Meanwhile, the enormous one remains at the station. After ensuring that her friends are safe, Norah just sits on the floor, ready to accept her death. She then comes close to the window and looks at the gigantic monster in front of her. At this time, Norah sees on a monitor that more creatures are following the 2 escape pods. Seeing this, she decides to take down the monsters finally. Norah overloads Roebuck's nuclear core and sets off a massive explosion underwater, sacrificing herself for her friends. The explosion kills all the creatures, including the enormous one, allowing Emily and Liam to get back to the surface safely. The scene then changes to a news article about Emily and Liam surviving the incident at the drilling station. However, Industries doesn't allow either Emily or Liam to get interviewed publicly. The company also refuses to share any details about the incident. Everything about the accident is made classified. The movie ends with TN Industries continuing the drilling project, even though the previous incident is still unclear.